Harry's Wife, Part 101.31. You don't know her. Except they do. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The Sugars. Or, as I prefer to call them, the Sugar Lumps. What a desperate bunch of idiots they are. Thick as mince, often unable to articulate themselves in any effective manner, and as I've explained in parts passing, easily identifiable by spewing bile and vitriol towards anybody that dared disagree with them, immediately branding anybody a racist because they have a contrary point of view, even though they've not said anything about race, a complete inability to look at the evidence, and, of course, regularly squawking such matters as, "How can you say that about her? You don't know her. Leave her alone. Leave her and Harry alone," and so on and so forth. Completely tedious. The best result often with these individuals is to ignore them. It's a waste of time trying to convince them of the efficacy of the argument to enable them to actually consider the evidence. But once in a while it's quite entertaining to make an example of these dimwits by pointing out the shortcomings of what they say and, of course, ridiculing the carbon copy way that they behave. But let's examine something that they regularly bleat about. You don't know her. I, of course, have had this allegation drawn and fired at me. The problem is, I can easily explain to them that I have met her, and in due course I'll be telling you all about that. However, the point is, plenty of people have met her. Plenty of people have experienced her unpleasant behaviours. The list is extremely long, and if I was to go into all of the incidents that have occurred over the years, and those that have been spoken about across social media, well, this would be a very long video indeed. But I'm just going to dive in with a few of them, which have been verified and authenticated. So the next time that a sugar bleats at you, "You don't know her," you can respond, "I may not, but these people do." And here is precisely what they had to say about her. Trevor Engelson, who had his engagement and wedding rings posted back to him, stated, "Marrying a mercurial, dramatic, shouty and difficult actress who demanded a role in his films had been a challenge." Thomas Markle, disengaged from, smeared, used financially, and not invited to her wedding to Engelson, and ultimately not turning up either to the wedding to Harry. Indeed, not even permitted to meet Harry or his grandchildren. Quotes galore from Mr. Markle Sr. about the behaviour of his daughter. Thomas Markle Jr., who warned you mustn't leave her alone with children. Former best friend, Nicky Priddy. "We spent 2 hours sitting at opposite ends of the garden with our backs to each other in silence. I'd always be the first to apologise. I just wanted to be besties again. She was stubborn." She recalled how Harry's wife directed children at Nicky Priddy's 9th birthday party to bow down to her as she was the queen. She found herself shelved when Harry's wife acquired a new circle of friends, and explained how she had repeatedly had lunch cancelled upon her, saying the tone of her voice, her movements, her mannerisms, the way she laughed didn't seem real anymore. Her time became increasingly important. Brett Ryland was kicked to the curb because apparently the relationship ended as he lacked the right personality. Mr. and Mrs. Engelson disliked Harry's wife's aloofness, lack of loyalty and intimacy. Samantha Markle stated the royal family would be appalled by what she's done to her own family, describing her sister or her half-sister as a pushy social climber with a soft spot for gingers, and she is narcissistic and selfish. Lizzie Cundy, "I was literally ghosted by her." Corey Vitiello was not best pleased by the rumours of her running around and getting jiggy with it with Rory McIlroy. John Fitzpatrick, the Irish individual who ran the hotels in New York, found himself shelved after he'd served his purposes. The agent, Gina Nelthorpe-Cowan, stated she was no longer a genuine friend. Focused on what she wanted, she wasn't going to listen to anything that cast a shadow. She was a feminist when it only suited her, and Nelthorpe-Cowan was driven to tears by Harry's wife for the first time in her career. There was the young man in Lift in Dublin, who was snapped at by Harry's wife being told, "I don't need that," and delivered a tirade. There was Jolie Andrietta, the Suits costume designer, who declared that Harry's wife was not her favourite actress to dress. Elizabeth Niamignaro, the UN employee, had repeated disagreements with Harry's wife and refused Harry's wife's demand to be promoted to ambassador. The Maltese Tourist Authority, who gave her a free trip for publicity in Elle magazine, and Harry's wife repaid them by never mentioning Malta once in the article. Ray Travidge, the British director, who described her as being unhelpful in every way during the shoot for the film Antisocial. Greg Sulkin, her co-star on that film, said she was high maintenance. World Vision Canada found out that she used the trip that they paid for to Rwanda for her own photo shoot, rather than promoting World Vision Canada's aims. Tank agency employees and the crew at the Reitman shoot, who explained, with regard to that campaign, "I thought she was a bit of a bully, filled with a narcissist entitlement complex. She is definitely the meanest person I've ever met. She's fake sweet. The princess is coming. She's here for the ego, not the art." The manicurist on that same campaign, who found herself the subject of rude and unpleasant behaviour from Harry's wife, who then dismissed her and left her in tears. John Giamatico, the director on that campaign, she repeatedly refused to follow his direction. Jeannie von Gieders-Miller, who was reduced to tears on the Reitman shoot. Gloria Sale, screamed at when Reitman hosted a lunch to launch the campaign because things weren't right. Adrian Sinkton, a literary agent, he was distraught by Harry's wife's behaviour. He said a young woman was reduced to tears by Harry's wife's passive-aggressive tone. Her raison d'etre appeared to be manipulating people. She's one of the most unpleasant people we've ever dealt with. Piers Morgan found himself shelved. Jason Knorf, his work was described as that of amateurs, learning on the job and flip-flopping. Harry's friends said about her that Harry's wife was a dampener on the party. She lacked any sense of humour. Harry must be fucking nuts. She's a total nightmare. The Princess of Wales was driven to tears by Harry's wife's behaviour, had a door slammed in her face, and her conciliatory gesture of flowers were thrown in the bin. Friends of Tonyn, Skip, at his wedding, said she quibbled about the food, behaved princessy, and refused to engage with Harry's friends. She simply wasn't interested in us. Laurie Sale, the agent again, Harry's wife's behaviour, whereby she claimed there was a supposed conflict with regard to representing a fellow actress, Rafferty, and she hardly chimed with her recent plea on a TV programme about behaving in a manner to be kind and not so judgmental, and being unkind. It explained that Harry's wife had two characters, one concealed and one fictional. Suits actors, remaining anonymous, accused Harry's wife of being manipulative. The journalist Sam Kashner stated that he received a telephone call from Harry's wife stating, "I'm very disappointed in you because I thought this could have been an actual friendship. I don't now think this can happen," despite him writing a puff piece supporting her. He said, "She demanded that the media do what she expects. I felt manipulated and betrayed." The late Diana, Princess of Wales' own family, stated that Harry introduced Harry's wife to Diana's sisters, Jane and Sarah, and her best friend, Julia Samuel. Harry assumed that her family and friends would see a similarity between Diana and Harry's wife, and he was left disappointed. No one agreed that his vulnerable mother had anything in common with his girlfriend, and they thought she wouldn't fit in with the royal family. The list is a long one, as I say, and there's just a number of people who have been quoted with regard to what they thought about Harry's wife, and they all knew her. So next time you have the misfortune of dealing with a dim-witted sugar, throw some of that in their direction, stand clear, and laugh your tits off. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.